planet Dolan.
From joyous singalongs about death to summoning evil spirits in the mirror, we count 10 of the creepiest children's games throughout history. Number 10. Ring Around the Rosie. Everyone knows Ring Around the Rosie, the sing-along children's game where participants join hands and skip in a circle. However, not many realize that the song's sweet lyrics reflect a dark and disturbing period in English history. Scholars have studied the song's rhymes and concluded that the joyful little song is about an outbreak of bubonic plague that affected London in 1665. Check out these lyrics. Ring around the rosy, pocket full of posies, ashes, ashes, we all dead. Apparently, the roses are a euphemism for the deadly rashes victims develop around their eyes. Posies are the preventative measure or are used to mask the smell of death, and the ashes and sneezes, which are the symptoms. We all fall down doesn't mean everyone's had too much eggnogs. It means they're all dead. With all this in mind, it's kind of fucked up to think that little kids sing along to this. Number 9. The Candyman. The legend here goes that the Candyman can be summoned if you say his name 5 times while looking into a mirror at midnight. If it works, a pair of red, glowing eyes will appear in the mirror, and you'll have mere seconds to turn on the lights and run to the brightest spot in your house. If you don't, Senor Candyman will kill you with his terrifying hook hand. I guess the Candyman doesn't like to share his lollipops. Number 8. Concentrate. This staple of kids' sleepovers messes with participants' senses and is designed to show players how they are going to die. It's a 2-person game where one person sits behind the other. The seated person must stay silent and keep their eyes closed, while the person sitting behind them recites a creepy as shit chant, punctuating each line by gently thumping their fist on the other player's back. The chant contains lines like, "Concentrate, concentrate, stick 10 needles in your sides, let the blood drip down, stab a knife in your back," and "People are dying, children are crying." Aggressive pokes are added at each verse, and the game ends with an imaginary noose tied around the player's neck. The player is then pushed from an imaginary building and asked what color they saw. Each color corresponds to a different death, but, spoiler alert, all but one of them are fucking brutal. Number 7. Three Kings. Three Kings is a creepy children's game involving mirrors, chairs, and a whole lot of bravery. Beginning precisely at 3:30 a.m., 3 chairs are arranged in a semicircle, and players take their seat in the center chair, their throne. Players must focus on the darkness in front of them. A lit candle makes moving shadows and creates white noise. Players must ask spirits whatever questions they have, and a response will come from one of the mirrors. One contains the Queen spirit, and the others contains the Fool, so you may not be able to trust the information you receive. During this game, the player's brain takes the moving shadows and white noise and creates hallucinations. Some say this is a way to communicate with the spirits. Others believe it's talking to your subconscious. Either way, don't try this on magic mushrooms. It's just not worth the hours of therapy. Number 6. Don't look behind you. Like Voldemort and Fight Club, this game must not be talked about unless the speaker is extending an invitation to play it. It's basically What's the Time, Mr. Wolf, but with a spirit, and it's played in complete darkness alone or with a brave group. Facing the wall, players say, "I want to play a game. I will count to X before I turn around. When I turn, you must freeze. You may only move when I am not looking. The game ends when the light comes on or when you touch my right shoulder." Players are allowed to conceal a flashlight on their person or can lay marbles or chips around the ground to warn them of the spirit's approach. Supposedly, spirits view these types of games as a way to secure a host, so paranormal enthusiasts say to not take them lightly. Whatever plays with you may keep following you afterwards. Number 5. Light as a feather, stiff as a board. The slumber party phenomenon has often been described as a form of seance and is considered offensive by some religious groups. It originated in the 17th century when a young group of girls were seen lifting friends who had died from the plague. The game involves one person lying motionless on the ground, playing dead. The other players slowly analyze their condition out loud, slowly reaching the prognosis of death. Players then place 2 fingers under their mock-dead friend, not touching their junk or anything, that's not cool, and eerily chant, "Light as a feather, stiff as a board." If it works, they should suddenly be able to lift their dead friend using just their fingers. Allegedly, the chant makes the person being lifted seem lighter, or even weightless. Man, that's creepy shit. Number 4. This ancient game originated in Mexico, but has become hugely popular as of late. It involves contacting a spirit and is a bit like a magic 8-ball. Only 2 pencils and a piece of paper are required. You simply draw 2 lines on your paper, forming a cross, and write yes in the top left and bottom right corners, and no in the top right and bottom left corners. Next, form a cross with the 2 pencils and say, "Charlie, Charlie, can we play?" If done correctly, your pencil should gently swing around, pointing to either yes or no. Don't expect him to be at your beck and call, though. He may have a hot date or something. Now that you've summoned this ancient spirit, it's time to bother them with trivial questions about your crush or the fate of One Direction. Spirits really like it when you do that. The pencil should move to indicate the answer. To end the game, simply say, "Charlie, Charlie, may we stop?" and burn and destroy the paper. You definitely don't want to leave a conduit to the spirit world open. And if this is all bullshit, well, you don't want to leave a scrap paper lying around because littering is equally as bad. Number 3. 5 Questions Game. 5 Questions is a ritualistic children's game that can only be performed on Halloween between 2 and 5 a.m. Players enter a pitch-black room just before 2 a.m. and look at the mirror. When they feel a chill pass across their body, they place a hand against the mirror and say, "I accept." If conditions are right, a skinned infant will appear in the mirror and ask 5 questions about the player's life. Each question answered incorrectly will cost the player one of their senses. However, for each question they answer correctly, they will be asked to speak one name. When it's over, the player must cover the mirror, leave the room, and do not collect $200. I mean, fall asleep before 5 a.m. Within a few days, harm will come to the people they named in this ritual. It's pretty fucking evil, actually. Number 2. Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary is the poster child for creepy sleepover games. It involves sitting in a dark bathroom, clutching a candle, and chanting Bloody Mary no less than 13 times while staring at a mirror waiting for the ghost to appear. Studies have shown that candlelight mixed with extended periods spent in darkness can cause hallucinations. But see if your belief in science saves you when you're eye to eye with the enraged ghost of Bloody Mary. Mary is believed to be Queen Mary, or a witch burned at the stake, or a virgin abandoned on her wedding night, or a woman who was disfigured in a car accident. Depending on the version you're playing, she will scratch out your eyes, pull you through the mirror, steal your soul, strangle or possess you, or drink your blood. Or, and here's hoping this is a true version, she will tell you your future. Bloody Mary can supposedly return to any mirror in which she has been summoned. To escape her, try breaking the mirror. This will either banish her forever or invite her into the human realm. Damn all this misinformation. It's like playing Powerball, only all the balls are shitty outcomes. Number 1. Ouija board. Ouija boards aren't used exclusively by children, but the ones controversially sold at Toys R Us are definitely designed to be. But the idea to commercialize a game where participants invited demons to communicate didn't come right away. In 1890, a man coined the term Ouija to describe a talking board, but the commercial rights for the idea weren't sold to Parker Bros. Until 1966. They were later sold to Hasbro in 1991. It was around this time that Ouija boards became a genuine cultural phenomenon, and every second teenager in the country, not just disenfranchised goth kids, had one tucked under their bed. Whether Ouija boards are a supernatural or psychological phenomenon, doctors in 1924 ended up committing patients to insane asylums because they had begun to believe what their boards had told them. Thanks for watching. Until next time.
Did you enjoy the video? That's fantastic. Did you know we also have a gaming channel, Collaborative? It's for Planet Dolan. Come look at us as we play some video games.
Like animation? Have some questions about life and the universe you need answered? Come check out Super Planet Dolan. Danger Dolan and I will answer your life questions. Links are down below.